المتابعين بألبرتا بالعربي في عموم ألبرتا وكندا. بحب رحب بمينستر الإديوكيشن and Childcare السيد ديمتريوس نيكولايدس. Kalimera, Minister. How are you?
Kalimera, shukran. Thank you very much for having me.
So that's the beauty of private schools, is you learn the second language of your parents, right?
Yeah, we had Greek language classes every Saturday morning from 9 to 12 in the basement of our church. So it wasn't a private school, but it was extra lessons. So it helped me to learn some Greek.
I think all minority communities, they go through the process. The parents' nightmare is, what can I do to teach my kids our native language? I think so.
That's right. And I'm doing the same with my kids. And I gave them a choice. I said, you can go to the same Greek school for 3 hours on Saturday morning, or you're going to do an hour and a half with a tutor online. And so they chose the online one. But I said, either way, you're going to do a class and you're going to learn.
So with that intro, I think pretty much I kind of answered my first question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. With the massive deficit in Alberta budget 2026, as we know, by now, there is really a major decision from your ministry to invest $90 million in funding for the private schools. So what prompted the government for that decision, Minister?
Yeah, the main reason that we want to pursue this pilot program is because there's been an incredible number of people moving to the province. Over the last 3 years, our student population has increased by 80,000.
Oh, wow.
And there is so much pressure on our schools that we are trying to do everything that we can and work with everybody that we can to expand more spaces. We've already invested $8.6 billion to build 130 schools. And we also want to see now if we can develop some partnerships with private schools to help some of them create more spaces, because I know that there are lots of families who want to get into many of the private schools that we have in Alberta. So if we can help them create some more spaces, I think that that's something we should look at.
So we have to mention also this 90 million, I think it's going to be spread out over 3 years.
Yes, that's right. We haven't done anything like this before. So we want to put some dollars aside, 90 million over 3 years. And we want to test whether this kind of a program is desirable and if it can achieve good results. So we're going to do this as a pilot for 3 years, see how it goes, and then make some more decisions after that time.
Talking about the private schools, Minister, any idea, do you have any statistic about how many schools we have and what the volume, roughly, like how many students in total? Any idea about what do we have here in Alberta?
Yeah, about 7% of our total student population is enrolled in private schools. We have about 830,000 students in the province as a whole. So about 7% of them are enrolled with different private schools. On top of that, we're also seeing enrollment growth in our private schools far exceed growth in public schools. For this upcoming year, our private schools are forecasting that they will see an 11% increase in enrollment. Our public schools are projecting to see about a 1.6% increase. So families are looking for more independent school choices, and it seems to be growing very quickly.
Oh, I see. So in your view, how independent school contributed to Alberta's education system in general, Minister?
There are a lot of different ways that independent schools contribute. We have to remember that there are 3 main categories of independent schools. First, there are the independent schools that focus on academic success and high achievement, and usually have very high tuition. We also have independent schools that are designated special education schools. So they exist only to provide education for students with disabilities. And then the third category are faith-based schools. So we have schools, for example, like Edmonton Islamic Academy or the Khalsa Sikh school, or these other types of institutions where they want to teach a particular faith and cultural identity, and they have to register as a private school in order to do that because it's not allowed in the public school setting. So those are the three different types of independent schools that we have in the province.
I see. That makes perfect sense. So no matter what you do, always there are going to be some people who are going to criticize that move. So here in Alberta, as you know, there's quite a few people who criticize, who really very critics of investing any money in the private schools because they claim this is a step forward privatization of the education. So what do you say to those the people with that concern?
Yeah, it's not at all a step towards privatization. Again, 7% of our student population is enrolled in private schools. 93% are choosing home education and public schools. So the vast majority of our students are going to public schools, investing 90 million to create a few thousand spaces in our private schools is not a significant move towards privatization at all, especially when we're doing this at the same time when we're investing $8.6 billion to build 130 new public schools across the province. So if we really wanted to privatize education, we wouldn't be building all of these public schools. We wouldn't be continuing to invest there. So I think that is just unfounded commentary that does not support reality.
So maybe this is the same question, but in a different angle. So why is continued funding for independent schools is important? Keep in mind, there's other people, other Albertans who are calling for defunding of this private school.
Well, Albertans always have different views. There are some individuals who don't want any funding to go to private schools. There are other individuals who want there to be more funding to independent schools. I have personally talked with lots of families and parents who, for example, I've talked with families in Edmonton who are waiting to enroll their kids with Edmonton Islamic Academy, as an example. That's where they want to send their kids to. And there's a long list, but the school doesn't have any space. I know families in Calgary that want their kids to go to the Khalsa school or other private Sikh schools.
The Akram Juma school is the same thing. I mean,
Akram Juma school as well.
Yeah.
And they can't because those schools don't have enough spaces. So it's our job to try and balance the needs of Albertans. And I think we're doing that in a responsible way. Again, 90% of funding is going to our public schools, $8.6 billion to build 130 public schools. And at the same time, $90 million to help create a few thousand spaces in our private schools, I think helps make sure that we strike the right balance.
Yeah. Minister, my next question is, many independent schools serve cultural communities. Have you heard directly from these communities about these programs? And do they support it, or they keep asking for different kind of support?
They are very supportive. The Premier first discussed this idea in September 2024 when she announced the $8.6 billion to build 130 schools. She also said at that time that we would develop a pilot program to partner with independent schools. So since that time, my phone has been ringing, and many different independent schools have been knocking on my door to find out when the program is going to be created, how they can apply to receive funding under the program. So it has generated a lot of interest, especially from faith-based schools and culturally based schools. And so I'm excited to announce that we're now ready to start accepting applications. I know we're going to receive many applications. We won't be able to provide funding to all of them, but we'll definitely be able to start the process.
Beautiful. So there's more good news coming from Alberta despite the deficit.
You know, we have to make sure that we remain focused on our key priorities. And one of our key priorities as a society has to always be building the strongest education system possible. And in order to do that, I firmly believe that has to include different options and different choices in the education system. So even though we have a significant deficit and a really challenging fiscal environment, making sure that our families have choices in education is a non-negotiable position for us.
I see. Minister, as you know, in our school systems in general, in our children in general, I would say in Alberta, we're noticing an increase, I should say, number of students with a special need, or I should say complex need, and also severe disabilities. So with this program, is there any specific budget allocated directly to students with special needs?
No, not specifically, although we are providing funding to one project already, and that is Renfrew Educational Services. Mm-hmm. This is an independent school in Calgary, and they operate solely to provide education to students with severe disabilities. Mm-hmm. And we will be partnering with them as a part of this program to help them with an expansion project that they are already working on. And this will help them to add almost 300 more spaces to support students with severe disabilities. Mm-hmm. And as the project continues to develop, I will be looking for proposals from schools that support students with disabilities. We have many independent schools that exist for the only reason to provide programming to students with disabilities. And I'll be looking for those kinds of proposals as well.
Thank you, Minister. I really would like to finish with give you the last quick questions. If there is anything that you like to do for this budget 2026 in relation to education in general, or to the private schools in general, but you couldn't do because of the deficit. So what would that thing that you wanted to do, but the situation didn't allow you to do that?
Well, I think actually we have been very successful in achieving the goals that we wanted to in Budget 26. We have been able to provide a 7% increase to education funding. That is a historic increase. There has never been a time when the budget for education has increased by so much since at least the 1980s. And so we've been very successful. We've also been successful in putting this pilot program together to help support independent schools. We're also moving ahead with the Schools Now program to build and modernize 130 schools across the province. So overall, I think we've been very successful with Budget 26 in achieving the goals that we had for the education system.
Well, Minister, as an immigrant or a son of an immigrant to this country, I really appreciate the government of Alberta and yourself for focusing on the private schools' importance and need for the support of the government. As you know, this is a very important, well-needed, and definitely there's room for more, but at least already addressed in this budget. So on behalf of the communities that I belong to, I really want to thank you and thank the government as well for keeping the light on the private schools and how important it is, and the funding and the support that is really needed, and hopefully it's going to be increased in future budget. Thank you, Minister, for your time. I really appreciate giving us the opportunity again.
Of course, my pleasure. And as the second generation Canadian, son of immigrants as well, I know firsthand and strongly believe in doing whatever we can to support our cultural and religious communities. So I'm proud that we're able to do this to support them in part.
I keep in mind Greek and the Middle East. It's just there's just kind of like a love of a first sight.
And it's even closer. My family is originally from Cyprus, so it's
wow, that's even better.
Even much closer to the region. Absolutely.
Wonderful, Minister. Thank you very much for your time.
Of course, all the best.
اوكي ثانك يو فيري ماتش.
باي باي.
أعزائي، كان معنا الوزير ديمتريوس نيكولايدس مدير التربية والإديوكيشن، وزير التعليم والتشايلد كير بألبرتا. بصراحة هو من أصول جريكية، وأنا كنت سعيد كتير إنه حكيت معه. very down to earth guy. and anyway كان عم بيحكي لنا على 90 مليون دولار اللي خصصتها حكومة ألبرتا لدعم البرايفت سكولز في ألبرتا على مدى 3 سنوات. تحياتي لكم وشكرا جزيلا لمتابعتكم مع ألبرتا بالعربي وسامنا مورا شو. رمضان كريم سعيد، والله العيد جاي، كل عام وانتم بخير يا رب. سلامات.